You ready?
I was born ready, Mr. Shelby. Hit it.
Suppose Henry Ford II wanted to build the greatest race car the world's ever seen to win the 24 hours of Le Mans. What's it take?
Well, it takes something money can't buy.
Money can buy speed.
What in about speed? You need a pure racer behind the wheel of your car. That's Ken Miles.
I don't trust him an inch.
We heard he's difficult.
No, Ken's a puppy dog.
Do you think you can beat Ferrari?
I can try. We're lighter, we're faster. That don't work, we're nastier. We're gonna make history.
Another catch-up video for the 2019 Best Picture nominees. Ford v Ferrari was directed by James Mangold, director of films like Walk the Line, 3:10 to Yuma, and of course Logan, and stars Matt Damon as Carroll Shelby and Christian Bale as Ken Miles. In the film, Shelby, a veteran racer, is approached by Ford Motors. He's approached by Ford Motors to help create a car that's fast enough to beat Ferrari at the world-famous 24 Hours of Le Mans. And Shelby conscripts his friend Ken Miles, who is also a skilled racer, to actually race in Le Mans. I know this is like the third time that I've changed my entire setup since I moved here, but honestly, I actually prefer this one because the last two times I had no room to move around, or if I did, it was very limited. This one, at least I have an entire area to actually move around, and I can actually have a slightly easier setup. I still miss having the office, but I don't know. Setting this up gives me ideas for where I could potentially go afterwards as far as like setting everything up. But anyway, so before I get into my thoughts on the film, I'm going to go ahead and throw out my normal disclaimer for those of the uninitiated. The way that I convey my thoughts on a film is I do a pro and con list. It helps me to best catalog the good and the bad in a film. And while I try to keep the sections separate, sometimes, a pro and con will be intrinsically tied together, or I could just make them work off of each other. I usually take advantage of that. Anyway, there's your disclaimer. Let's go ahead and get into the review of Ford v Ferrari. This was a film that I saw opening day, and it was so long since I had seen it that I needed to rewatch, so I just rented it not a few minutes ago. Okay, never mind. I finished the rental a few minutes ago, and now I can actually talk about it. So Here are my opinions on it. If you came to the film for a tight narrative that you can get invested in, you'll probably get it. I've heard many casual moviegoers and critics that I watch who just praise the story. Even ones that I don't watch, they've mostly praised the story. I, however, will not be doing that. I found the story to be consistently dull for the first 2 hours, but the majority of the film, it feels more like a conventional sports story mixed with a conventional business-oriented story. The sports part being cliches like how a main character gets booted from the team, even though we all know that he's going to be added back later, so it doesn't really up the tension at all, and we don't need to worry, and it just makes the moment rather pointless. And then the business part being the cliche where the main character or characters are basically prodigies. God damn it, prodigies. They're prodigies in their field, and they have to battle with the corporate entity, and both sides want different things. Miles being the extreme of the prodigy side, where he's just like, no, I don't want to listen to these fucks. And then Shelby kind of being in the middle, trying to appease both corporate and his friend. However, there are a couple of scenes throughout that don't involve racing that are actually crafted well on the narrative standpoint, including a rather riveting business discussion between Ford officials and Ferrari that also has Fiat kind of in the background. I actually thought that one was really well done, and you'll know it when you see that scene in the movie if you haven't already seen it. And the film also does its best to stress the importance and the amazement of what Le Mans stands for, and what it is a test for as far as cars go, as well as their drivers, with the film trying to help the audience understand that our main characters are just basically nerds of a different caliber, which helped me better understand things. Shelby and Miles's job is an obsession for them, and they can't see anything. They can't see themselves doing anything. There's an art to it, and I kind of appreciated that insight, but alas, some of these moments work, and then some don't. The runtime is colossal at 153 minutes, so just a hair over 2.5 hours. The pace drags throughout, only really being saved by the racing sequences, which I will touch on a little bit later. And the trailers don't portray what the film is really about. The titular battle doesn't even really start until around the 1 hour and 45 minute mark, sorry. And at that point, sorry, I always have phlegm issues. At that point, maybe 3/4 of the film is already gone, and you're hoping that it just ends quickly. And if you're confused as to why you could see my pearly white legs, don't worry, I'm wearing gym shorts. Both lead performances are really good in the film, but their characters lack complexity. Shelby's the cliche, likably determined character to root for, and then Miles is the non-people person underdog to root for. But, like I said, each has little complexity in their writing to give the audience really a reason to care about them. The real thing to watch the film for is the racing sequences. Everything from the editing to the sound design to the cinematography is crafted expertly and gives us exhilarating sequences that, in my opinion, are the only real thing that you have to watch the movie for. And sadly, even the climactic race sequence is squandered by this bizarre Hollywood-esque moment that is crafted to be a character-defining moment and a crowd-pleasing moment. And what makes it worse is that, as bizarre as this moment is, it's true to life. I actually, over the past few months that I didn't do a video, I actually did research, and I think you'll understand which part I mean if you've seen the movie, or you will know once you've actually seen the movie, because it doesn't feel like it should be real, but apparently it was. So that means that they failed even further at this moment, because it's weird when a true life moment doesn't feel like it actually did happen or could ever happen. In the end, Ford v Ferrari was, in my opinion, the lesser of the Best Picture nominees, and I think it's probably my least favorite James Mangold film. I mean, the technical aspects are definitely nothing to sneeze at. Probably shouldn't have made a joke about sneezing since we have the coronavirus thing. Yeah, well, I'm not getting any subscribers from this. The racing sequences are top tier, and the lead performances, like I said, are really good. But just as the film as a whole is brought down by this lackluster narrative filled with pacing issues and fluff used to extend the film's runtime. Naturally, I would recommend that nobody see this movie, maybe not necessarily that extreme. I wouldn't personally recommend it, except for the small things like the racing sequences, but because the majority of people have actually enjoyed this, then all I can really say is, you guys live your life and enjoy the film. Hell, I'm glad you guys are able to or will be able to enjoy the film more than I did. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Just keep supporting the channel. And as always, farewell until the next video, all of you casual moviegoers and movie fans alike, and keep on being awesome.